Hi and welcome back. This bodes well. Hi and welcome back to the Inspired Yarns podcast. I'm Claire.
I'm Åsa.
And thank you for joining us. If you joined us for our last podcast, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, you have created somewhat of a monster because our YouTube figures doubled from 26 followers to 52 or similar.
Almost viral.
So, that was as much encouragement as we needed.
57, I think we are. Yeah.
So that was really as much encouragement as we needed to do this whole crazy thing again. But yeah, so what have you been up to since the last time we did this crazy thing?
My brain is mush because I'm going on holiday tomorrow.
Yay!
What have I done? I've been sewing a few upcycling projects for Castle Espey, and I have finished off one of our courses in crochet. Got a bit of knitting in there.
Old month, hasn't it?
It sort of has, yeah. We keep saying that we're going to, next month we don't have too much on, and then we're going to do all of these things.
That never happens.
Never happened.
Nope. But here we are. My
What about you?
My month has pretty much been full of funding applications and developing new projects, and if they all come about, it'll be pretty busy.
Yeah.
I've been doing all the boring admin stuff, and then every so often we've also managed to get away with a little visit here, there and everywhere, which leads us nicely into our next link bit.
What is coming up in this episode?
Yep. So this episode we have been to Castle Espey. So we've gone, also mentioned there she had done some bits and pieces on upcycling their old staff uniforms.
Yep.
So we took those up and we had a good old rummage around Castle Espey and have
a little bit of an interview with
Paul. So that'll
that.
be coming up. And then we've also been to Carnegie Old Park as well, which we're a bit smitten with, aren't we?
Yeah.
We want
They
that
do tours. They do tours, and if you have a chance, join one, because it's really informative and very exciting what they're up to.
Yeah. So they're somewhat of our new besties as well. So we, as part of some of the projects that I've been putting together, we will hope to work more closely with Carnegie as well in future, because they very closely align with what we're hoping to do here as well.
Yeah.
Then we also had a very special guest visit us in the form of Jana Knowles.
Yeah, and you'll see a little bit of an interview with her and me, probably a little bit chaotic, but all in good fun. And we're very excited and you'll hear all about it, that she's coming over in September for our retreat. So in the bits that are coming up for us, we have, myself and Amy have just installed an exhibition in Ards Art Centre. I always find that so hard to say.
It's not
Ards Art Centre.
It's not easy.
Very colourful. It's all about our community projects that we've been doing.
Yep, it followed on from our Know Your Worth one that we ran in Bangor Heritage Museum last year.
In Bangor Castle,
But we've also added bits to it as well. So a big part of that is the Collaborate piece quilt that we've added into it. We had hoped to do more of a piece on the piece quilt.
A piece on the piece quilt.
We'd hoped to do that for this episode, but as I say, we were out and about doing other fun things, and we just thought that they were a bit more timely than the piece quilt. So we promise we will do stuff on the piece quilt for next month, but it is currently on show in Ards Art Centre and will be there until at least the end of July.
The 27th of July.
27th of July it finishes up.
Yeah.
So you can go along and have a wee look at it. The sort of voiceover for it is also on our website as well, but we'll put that together for the next podcast so that everything is in one place. And then we also we've had a pretty full-on interest in our felting sessions that we're going to run up at Glenside Farm. So they are now fully booked. So if you were interested in those, we will be approaching everybody that's booked in just before they run to make sure everybody can still make it. There may be a couple of spaces squeezed out of it at the end, but otherwise they're fully booked if you're looking at them on our website.
That's the one on the 5th of August. Yeah.
And then we also have our August craft sessions as well, which are?
The the following week then, on the Wednesday as well, the 12th, we have a half-day Intarsia class workshop. There are a few places still left in it. You can find the details on the website. And then 2 weeks after that, on the 26th, we're starting Embrace Your Inner Granny workshop. So a follow-on crochet workshops looking at different types of doilies, lace patterns, that sort of stuff. So again, a few spaces still left on that if you're interested.
Hi, this is Claire. So today we're somewhere a wee bit different, and it's somewhere that's very special to us at Inspiring Yarns. So we're here at Castle Espy, which is just outside Cumber, and we're just going to have a wee look around because it really is one of my favourite places. So this is just the car park as you come in, and aside from like the occasional car passing by in the car park, it really is one of the most peaceful places around. So here we are in front of the Across the Seasons piece that we completed as part of the National Lottery Heritage Fund work, which was called Inspiring Textiles at Castle Espy. So we're here with Paul Stewart, Centre Manager, and Asa, who is the textile artist who designed and created the bulk of the piece. So Asa,
yes,
you must be pretty smug with yourself being a textile
Absolutely.
artist, having the recognition of having a piece this sort of scale on this, within a visitor centre, which is a heavily populated area most of the time. So how does it feel?
It is lovely to have it here, and I just love how it came together, because I made it in 4 pieces. So it was a little bit of a guesswork how it would all hang together, but I love it, and I love the piece of wood that we got as well, a piece of ash. Question mark? Yeah, I think so. But I think it just sets it off really nicely.
It does set beautifully. So just for context, this is the view that we were capturing. So as part of the project, and maybe we'll go back to how the project came about, Paul. So initially, don't know if you remember, there was one happy day I phoned up Castle Espy because we'd seen a lot of hooper swans in a field. And at that stage we didn't know there were hooper swans, so that's really what we were ringing to ask about. So hooper swans make an interesting journey to turn up in Northern Ireland once a year, and we were particularly fascinated with these ones in this particular field in Ards. So can you tell us a bit more about how that link developed with Castle Espy?
Well, yeah, it was kind of an organic thing, wasn't it? I mean, you came down here to ask about the swans, and then we just got talking about the work that you were doing, and we kind of over coffee, the whole project sort of just formed, really, didn't it? And
all those creative minds. But there is a link with Castle Espy and Arts, isn't there? So can you tell me about how it developed as well?
Well, Sir Peter Scott, who was the founder of the WWT, he was an artist, or he described himself as an artist, and we have many of his original paintings here. So we have an art gallery. And we do book launches and music events at Castle Espy. Also, Castle Espy was originally founded by the Mackey family, and there's an arts connection there with the Mackey family. So yeah, it was a natural partnership, really. Yeah.
So once we had initially had that chat, then we went off and were able to secure funding through the National Lottery Heritage Fund for this piece, and also the embroideries, which will also capture some of. But there is a gallery here that's open to the public throughout the year.
Yep.
You would host several different artists, and then there's also a potter in residence as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. We'll have a different local artist every month exhibited in our gallery. And Castle Espy, it's actually an old industrial site, even though it's a beautiful nature reserve now. But all those old quarries have been subsumed by water, so a lot of those were they're quarrying for lime, but they're also quarrying for clay. So we made bricks and we made pottery here. We have some historic examples in the centre that people can come and look at. But we also have Tracy Johnson, our resident artist. She's a ceramicist and she makes contemporary pieces here at Castle Espy. So people can come along actually and watch her work, as well as buy her stuff in the shop. So yeah.
And how long have you worked for Castle Espy then?
Nearly 7 years.
7 years. And what developments have you seen on site since, or have you seen anything really interesting happen over those years?
Yeah, well, this project for start, to have this in the visitor centre, tens of thousands of people come through here. So the fact that they can see all this and they see the embroidery work, and that was a great development for us. I've seen the flora mature as we've changed how we manage the grasslands out there. I mean, even outside the window here, you can see orchids and there's all sorts of things growing. We have tern rafts deployed now to try to attract terns, which are a priority species on the loch. We've also survived bird flu and COVID and various other things as well. So yeah, it's been interesting.
And how difficult is it for somewhere like this, whenever something like bird flu health, which is obviously totally outside your control, but as a charity you would rely on the income generated from the visitor centre here, so how do you navigate something like that?
Yeah, during bird flu we had to close to protect the birds, to stop any potential spread. But of course when we're closed, we're not making any money, so it was a very tough time for us. I would say it was tougher for us than COVID in many ways.
Yeah, so it has been a really tough few years just in general. But throughout that there has been some really interesting developments in terms of species. So is there any species in particular that are of note to Castle Espey? I know everybody talks about the Brent geese.
Yeah.
But there's other success stories of having.
Yeah, we have here a very rare species of butterfly, the cryptic woodwhite. We've also spotted the comma butterfly, which not common, comma butterfly, and the comma butterfly isn't very common in Northern Ireland, but we think we have it resident here now. Well, so we've got bee orchids, beautiful bee orchids. And when I first came here there weren't any, and there hadn't been any recorded for a long time, but now they're all over the place. This year's been the best year ever, so that's really nice to see. So yeah, there's been.
That was one of the inspirations for one of our embroidery.
It was, yeah.
So just going back to across the seasons here, also could you possibly tell us a wee bit about how the piece came together?
Yep, so first of all it was a matter of deciding what view to pick, and Paul, you were just saying about the many photographers and artists that have captured it already, and it is really arresting when you come in here into the cafe and you see the whole vista laid out. So to me it was a no-brainer. You know, I did have a look around in other places, but this is what really caught my eye, and the idea of the different seasons, so starting with winter, spring, summer and autumn, is just to capture a little bit of the colours and the change in nature as the year progresses. So it's all woven on a rigid heddle loom. So each panel obviously is only about half a metre wide, and I made sort of life-sized cartouches that I then kept under the loom to guide the lines going across, and then we have a bit of surface stitching, a little bit of crochet, and hand-dyed, hand-spun yarn as well, together with commercial yarn. So it's a mix of a whole load of different sort of yarns that I pulled together.
Was it difficult trying to imagine, obviously, because on a loom you're constantly winding that up, was it difficult to try and imagine how all those colours were going to play together in the final piece?
Absolutely. It was totally terrifying, because I also, the warp threads, they're cotton, and they're all different colours, so they interplay with the colours of the weft then, to create slightly different tones as well. So here you have almost like an orange colour, and green, and slightly different, but the different colours then come through a little bit differently.
We love how your brain works at Inspiring Yarns, because really there's not many people could pull that off quite the same way.
Well, I don't know about that, but I had great fun. It took a long time, but I had great fun making it. So it's
roughly
good.
how long do you think, from sort of initial concept idea right through to it being on the wall, how long do we think it took us?
Well, the initial concept, I guess, was sort of late summer, year before last, and then I finished off. I worked to a deadline, always to work to a deadline, so finished off, I think, a week before we had to hang it in July.
Yeah.
Of the following year, then, so almost a year in the making.
But we did have some community help with that as well, even in terms of the surface stitching and the different bits and pieces. So
mainly Amy, but it was easier to involve other people in the embroideries because they're more portable, they're easier to deal with. But
So in total across the project we had about 119, I think it was, people
something like that,
from local community groups. So it was and we spent a lot of time up at Castle Esby drinking coffee and observing the different seasonal changes across.
We did taking photographs over the seasons. Indeed.
Yeah, no, it has been a really fun project. So we'll also have a wee look at the embroideries as well, and just have a wee look at some of it was Paul that had actually given us the steer on which species to concentrate on for those. So we'll have a wee look at those as well. So the other thing about Castle Esby is it has a really good visitor centre with excellent coffee. So we've taken a wee stop to have a cup of coffee and yum yum for us. It's not a bad job, this at all. But one thing leads to another whenever you get involved in community projects, and Paul had mentioned to us, just in passing really, as she handed us 3 bin bags full of old staff uniforms. But obviously we're very keen to reduce textile waste wherever we go. In Inspiring Yarns we have set up the pop-up market, which will also be hosted here at Castle Esby, and it's on the
2nd of August.
2nd of August. So it'll be also on while the Dragonfly Festival is on, so plenty to do for kids as well if you're coming along to see us at the market. But I digress. So Paul handed us 3 bin bags full of old staff uniforms. He was very conscious that he didn't want to just dump them. Also it had the company branding on it as well, so we were looking at ingenious ways of recycling those. So Ossa took to her sewing machine yet again, and what have you come up with?
Well, I did a few sort of trial runs first, and we talked it over. So I did a little bag that could be maybe used. Will I show?
Yes, yeah.
Ignore that the logo is upside down on this one.
It matters not a jot.
But I made one of those saying that could be scaled up or down, used for water bottles or whatever. I also did a little Japanese rice bag that can carry stuff that bags do.
We could use this for sowing wildflower seed.
So it's a handy little thing because you can obviously fill it and then carry it around with you like that. And then I made the same sort of shape as our project bags, our small project bags. There's a little bird.
That's very cute.
With logos on them too, and we agreed that I could make a few more of those. And then I made seat pads that are not waterproof but water resistant on the back, and they're quite handy because you can roll them up and put your handle through, if I can get through, and then again you can carry it with you. So if you have a group of maybe kids or whatever, they can have one of these each, and then they can go out for a walk and have a little sit down or whatever. So
yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, we've a lot of staff and volunteers here, and over the years the uniform gets worn out, it begins to get bally or whatever. it's going to happen. So I mean, we're a conservation charity, so we don't want to throw things. We want to minimise waste. So this isn't even recycling. This is repurposing, really, isn't it? This is the best
Upcycling.
of all. Upcycling, yeah. So it's brilliant, and there's different textures. You know, these are the old fleeces that are slightly shower-proof, which is nice, and then t-shirts. It's great, and they'll be useful. As I say, we'll use that for sowing wildflower seed. But these bags are great, and the cushions. We have loads of schools that visit here. So
they're lined as well.
Yeah, lined as well. Yeah.
It's the little details, isn't it?
Details, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a good idea of, just a really good demonstration, I guess, of how whenever you work together you can just have small changes that do make a big deal of difference, because that would have been another 3 bin bags worth of
Saved from
textiles
landfill.
going to landfill, so that's what we're all about here. So we just thought we'd have another wee look around at what happens at Castle Espy, just in case you are thinking of heading out here over the summer. It is a great place for kids to be, because there's plenty to see and do, and at the minute everything, lots of ducks and stuff have had ducklings and things recently, but one of the most prominent events of the summer is the Dragonfly Festival. So I thought it would be a good time for Asa to demonstrate her dragonfly tattoo up against.
For you.
Absolutely, it's like we branded her.
It's like it's brand. It's been there a while.
But also, Paul, how did the Dragonfly Festival come about?
Yeah, we're celebrating dragonflies this year, and we did last year as well. So dragonflies are important wetland species. They're a good indicator of the health of a wetland. We have several species here, damselflies as well. So we're celebrating all things dragonfly, because quite often people focus on the larger animals like your otters and your Brent geese, of course, which we're famous for. But it's the small things too. You know, it's like a game of Jenga. You remove one thing from the ecosystem, everything collapses. So we're celebrating dragonflies. And they really are the jewels of wetland habitat, as you see them darting around. So there's loads of activities on. We have stilt walkers, we have workshops, we have music here at the centre. You can check out our website, which tells you when everything's on. So, and then we've got this brilliant mural done by Ali Parks of dragonflies. So just in time for the festival.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So folks, we're still just outside Castle Espy now, and we will talk more about the Echium vulgaris whenever we look at Amy's embroidery. But we initially just sort of wanted to have a wee chat with you, Paul, just about, obviously we've looked at how the link between Inspiring Yarns and Castle Espy came about, but so we've since discovered there's a lot more to the link than we initially thought, because there's also the mental health aspect of it. So I mean, we're outside, it's a lovely day, but just even on the days whenever we've been here quite a lot also throughout the project, and even on the days when it is a wee bit grim and gloomy, it's still such a lovely place to be. Paul, can you explain a wee bit about how wetlands can help with mental health?
Yeah, well, we know people getting outside and close to nature is very good for their mental health, and being close to waters particularly, there's evidence to suggest that's very good for people's mental health and well-being. So wetland habitats are serene places to visit. Like you said, even when the weather's grim, it's almost spectacular here when you look out at the weather. When it's sunny, it's amazing as well. Cobalt blue seas, and you can see here the Echium vulgare. It was Amy Palmer. She done some embroidery depicting this flower. It's a native wildflower. It's really, really good from pollinators. You can see loads of bees on it there.
Even just being able to sort of take 5 minutes out and just stand here and just sort of take in the birds, and it's that lovely sort of link. We always find, like, especially working with the farm as well, that whenever people are out in nature, there is that inspiration, and you can draw the inspiration from the colours around you as well. So until the school group arrives with a noisy whistle, but sure, that's part of the fun of it too. We'll be grand.
But it connects with what we do as well in Inspiring Yarns. I think there's something about using your hands and your feet, grinding to the earth.
Yeah.
Is is really good, just generally for your mental health.
It's therapy. I mean, I've seen you guys
Yeah.
were here when you were working on stuff, using the graphing room, zoned out
Yeah,
on what you're doing, you know.
yeah.
That was also fueled by the really good scones and plenty of coffee that was in abundance while we were here too. But you know, it's that connection and that sense of community that really helps people in terms of, because while we were doing that project, there was a lot of people would have come months on months, and then they got to know each other, they got to know what each other was working on. You know, we tried to put in themed projects for them to work on as well, and it's just that nice sense of connection that people have that really do make a difference. And I'm sure your members would find that as well, in terms of just coming here regularly and getting, you know, that sense. It is just such a unique space outside Cumber, which is a relatively small town. You know, there's not really that many green spaces around, so just to be able to have this is such a unique element.
Both for yourselves here and us to just hold the space for people to gather.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's
So we've talked before about like that third space. It's not your home or your work. It's another space where people go to get that sense of community, and it is really important to have that. So you would have other community groups here as well then throughout the year?
Different groups, including groups that come and volunteer and help us maintain various aspects of the site. School groups are regular. So yeah.
And how important is it that you have volunteers that connect?
We couldn't do it without volunteers. You're looking after this place. It's very labour intensive. And we rely totally on all the income that we can generate to keep it going. So the volunteers, without them, we wouldn't be able to do the half of what we do.
And how many volunteers would you work with across the year?
We have about 40 on the books. That's not all at once, but we have 40 on the books. So I mean, every day there'd be maybe 6 to 10 maybe volunteers. Yeah.
And that's really good to see that level of commitment, because it's people giving up their free time, and it shows that, you know, local people also really value what is here as a.
I think it's a mutual thing, a transaction thing. I think the volunteers get a lot out of it too, about being involved with what we do.
Yep, no, that's great. It really is such a unique place to be, and you know, we've certainly enjoyed coming here throughout the time, but thank you for that. Another part of our piece that was funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund is the embroideries designed by Amy Palmer. Amy, dear lover, you will never see on video because she's just not that type of person, so we're here to talk about them. But basically these came about by Amy walking around the site and taking pictures of different things that inspired her. She didn't actually see a kingfisher while she was here, but we also then fed in with Paul to see why these elements were important to be represented in a embroidery piece to hang in the centre. Paul, can you tell us a wee bit about the kingfishers at Castle Espy?
Yeah, we have loads of kingfishers at Castle Espy. They're wetland species, iconic wetland species, as you know. Their populations are very healthy. We put old wind-fallen branches up near the lookouts, where people are looking out over the water bodies, and these are to encourage the kingfishers to perch on when they're hunting, and that way people can see them up really close. I mean, they're a beautiful bird, that metallic blue streak that you see as they fly past, and they actually they burrow. They make burrows in the banks of the lakes around here.
And your volunteer photographer has captured some amazing images of them over the time, hasn't he? So we'll move along then to the next one that you will come to as you're walking along here is the bee orchid.
Yeah.
And you sort of touched on it briefly, but I believe whenever you first saw one here at Castle Espy, you were all a bit excited, were you?
We were, and there hadn't been bee orchids recorded here for quite a long time. And then all of a sudden there were a couple, and this was about 3 or 4 years ago. And every year there's more and more and more and more. There are now loads of bee orchids. It's a lovely orchid, and it mimics, the actual flower mimics a female bee, and they're pollinated by solitary bees in southern Europe. They are self-fertile as well. But it's a really nice, unusual orchid to see here at Castle Espy, so we're really happy about that. And Amy's captured here.
And then we have the red-breasted goose and light-bellied Brent goose.
Yes.
So I mean, you can't mention Castle Espy without mentioning some kind of Brent goose, can you? Light-bellied or otherwise.
Yes.
But do you want to tell us a wee bit about the connection with Brent geese here?
You can't escape the light-bellied Brent geese at Castle Espy. We have 85% approximately of the world's population of light-bellied Brent geese flying from the Canadian Arctic to the mudflats here in Strangford Lough every year. So I think that's an incredible wildlife spectacle, and a great thing for Northern Ireland to host that percentage of the world's light-bellied Brent geese every year. And we celebrate that every year through our Shore Life Festival in October. The WWT do work looking after wetlands all around the world. It's not just in our wetland centres in the UK. They actually we look after wetlands in different parts of the world and saving species from extinction. Through captive breeding, we have saved several from extinction. And in our collection here at Castle Espy under netting, we do have birds that are both native to Strangford Lough and ones that are from different parts of the world. And here we can see the red-breasted goose, which conservation status is vulnerable, and we have some of these in our collection.
Good. And then moving on, we have the orchard and garden. So a little bit different, but Amy was sort of inspired by the fact whenever you told her about the apples and things that you grow within the garden space. So do you want to tell us a wee bit about why this was a good choice for an embroidery piece?
Yeah, Amy was very taken by this part of the property. We're an environmental charity, so everything we do, we try to do as sustainably as possible. So down here in the garden, we grow our own vegetables. They're all grown peat-free and without the use of chemical pesticides. We also have an apple orchard here, and the apple orchard actually it consists of traditional Irish varieties. Varieties like Irish peach, Kevin sugarcane, and all these really old Irish varieties, many of which are very difficult to obtain nowadays. We grow this traditional Irish heritage orchard. We have wildflower meadow around it, so to encourage pollinators, and we use the apples in our restaurant. We'll make pies and different products with it. We also make our own toffee apple ice cream.
Oh, yum yum. See, while you're busy geeking out about all the flowers and stuff, this is probably one of my favourite pieces of the embroidery, just because of the detail in it. But I think it's absolutely stunning, and I think she has captured it really well in terms of the stitches and the detail in it. But takes all sorts of geeks, doesn't it? You geek out about the flowers, and we're here to geek out about the textiles.
This building here, the Boffey, the Potter's Boffey, so that's where Tracy Johnson has her wheel, and she creates pottery pieces all influenced by Strangford Lough. And the Boffey itself, on the sustainability theme, the Boffey itself, it has a grass roof, as you can see, and it's actually made from straw bales. Made from straw bales, and it's been there for many, many years.
It is very pretty part of the site as well. And then another one, I know we're not supposed to have favourites, it's like having a favourite child, which of course you don't ever encourage, but
I particularly
we love
like
the bats.
This boy here.
Yeah, I mean, how can looking at that not make you properly happy whenever you look at their little faces and stuff? But again, obviously there's a reason why we did an embroidery of bats here. Paul, what is the reason?
Yeah, we have lots of bats here as well. Different types. We have soprano, pipistrelles, lizards, and Dunbenton bats. Dunbenton bats are easily associated with water, skimming the surface of the water, sometimes just an inch above the surface of our lakes, picking off insects and things, and you can see them just after sunset on a warm day.
You did do some bat nights as well.
We do bat
we
nights
came
as
along to
well.
a bat night as well, and we listened out for some. That was one of my misspent nights one summer whenever thought I need to go and see these bats. So yeah, there's all sorts going on here.
Bats echolocate. As you know, their eyesight isn't very good, blind as a bat and all that. So they echolocate, and it isn't audible to human ear, but we have detectors where you can actually hear them, hear the echolocation, and you can also determine what species it is through that device as well.
Wow. Yep, so there's another wee night out if you're ever looking for one. And then here we have the mallard ducks as well. So obviously you can't have a wetland centre with a full-on duck pond without having an old mallard or something in the mix. So
no matter how hard you might try, you can't. Mallard ducks are very confident around people, as you know, and you find them in public parks and things. So yes, the mallard ducks come here. They know there are people about. And they're always looking around for scraps and things.
Would you say they're a wee bit cheeky, maybe?
They are very forward.
A wee bit cheeky, yeah. But you gotta love them anyway. And is hand feeding on at the minute, or
no? Not at the minute.
Is
As precaution against bird flu.
That old bird flu again, just causing mayhem. But and then here we have the Echium vulgare as well, which we talked about in terms of its benefits, obviously as a pollinator, but obviously inspired by the view that we were just looking at outside. So why did you choose this as why is it important to Castle Espy?
Well, the numbers of this wildflower just increased, and it grows all around the building here. It likes sort of dry conditions, so you have that sort of gravel edging around the centre, and it has colonised that, and it is alive with pollinators. Bees, we saw recently a hummingbird moth feeding on the Echium, so it's a really good source of food for pollinators, and it's really quite beautiful flower. I mean, it rivals any flower you might buy in a garden centre.
It's one of those sort of quite simple but effective flower. And obviously Amy has worked wonders as well with the detailing around the window as well. So again, we're largely here to geek out over Amy's work too, but we can't not mention the work she put into, because it was quite colossal. And then last but not least, we have the common eider duck and cinnamon teal. So while we were here, this is just something that we'll let you in on, while we were here with one of the groups, we actually learned how to speak fluent eider duck.
Oh really?
There was about 7 of us down by that pond one day, all learning how to speak eider duck, and then I think we learned out that that's maybe one of their mating calls or something, so we don't maybe
give us a few words in eider then.
There you go. So tell us a bit about eider ducks, cinnamon teals, and why they are in the mix here.
Eider ducks are a native duck. They really are a really interesting bird. The call they make sounds like people gossiping. They're a lovely animal, and this is of course where eiderdown comes from. And the eider ducks, they make their nests out of their own eiderdown, and you can harvest. Don't do this on wild animals, please.
Certainly not any in your collection.
You can harvest the down from the ducks as well, just by teasing it off from the breast of the duck, and they seem to quite like it. I don't know. Cinnamon teal as well in our collection. They all sleep together in a huddle. Their native range would be North and South America. So again, it's an example of a native species and an exotic species here in our own collection of birds.
And obviously we are primarily interested in them because they make really nice pictures on the wall and have stunning colours in them as well. So I think it was the colours on the eider duck that really attracted us, that kind of was like, oh, they're very nice ducks. So thank you so much for explaining that to us.
And this is one of our bee orchids here, out on the grassland.
And just to prove that as we are intrepid explorers, we did make it down to the duck pond as well. Also, do you know what any of these ducks are?
I have not a clue.
There's a duck.
Yep.
There's a duck over there.
I don't know, when you put the camera on, they just all...
They get all shy and
Yeah,
they're introverted
they did.
ducks.
They did. And there was one
There's
with
one.
amazing
Yeah, where's he
hairstyle.
gone?
He's,
Where's she?
she sort of dove down there and didn't come up again.
We're
It's a
not
little
great
bit
at this
worrying.
nature thing, are we? Maybe we're better sticking to a wee bit more textile stuff, do you think?
But where did she go?
We really wanted to show you the fantastic hairdo on this duck.
She had like bleached ends and she was quite fancy.
A lesser spotted fancy duck, would you say?
I would say. There she is.
Oh.
There she is.
Or him, sorry. If
Or
it's
him. Someone can keep us right.
It's as well, we have friends that are experts in these sorts of things, isn't it? That keep us right whenever we're...
Yeah.
Yep, there's fancy duck right there.
Paul shouldn't really leave us.
No,
on our
Paul
own,
should not have
unattended.
left us on our own at all. We're better off.
Look at the
Look at
bleached
the hair
ends.
do on
Perfect.
that.
Oh, she was
Yeah,
rocking it there for
Yeah.
a bit.
very fancy duck.
Love her.
Yeah, love what you did there.
She's really showing off now, isn't
Yeah.
she?
We're just here today at the Carnegie Old Park Library, where Quentin Oliver, who has recently bought the Carnegie Old Park Library. So Quentin, if you could just give us a wee bit of background as to how you become a person who owns a library. Obviously your background would have been a lot in Northern Ireland's voluntary sector, so if you can just sort of explain the leap from one to the other.
Indeed, yes. I was born and brought up in East Belfast, and I worked in the voluntary sector. I worked for NICFA for a long time, and then ran Stratagem, which was a lobbying business on public policy issues in Northern Ireland. And there I worked in a Carnegie Library, the wonderful one on Donegal Road behind the City Hospital, which had been lovingly restored by an architect. So I could see what a beautiful building it was and what a beautiful workplace it could make. And I knew that there was the Falls Road Carnegie, which is still a working library through good leadership. And then there was this one in Old Park. And I'd done a bit of work over here with the local community for capacity building. And then one day the community worker said, "Oh, Quentin, it's awful. They're going to sell the library off. They're going to auction it for sale, and some developer will buy it and make houses or something. That's a tragedy. Will you come and hold my hand?" So I marched off to my first auction ever in my life. I was so excited to give you a wee paddle at the door, and then when it came up and nobody else bid, and they were about to move on, my hand went up in the air. So I ended up having to go home and explain that we had a house in South Belfast, a car and a bicycle. We now owned a library.
It's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? It just is. So you're obviously the type of person then, and you'd said you'd had previous experience working in Carnegie Libraries, so you're obviously the type of person that can see the bigger picture. We've just had a look around the building and there is a lot of work to be done. So what do you think, what sort of scale are we talking about here, just to put it into perspective for us?
Yeah, we've got a wonderful old building. It's 120 years old. It was built in 1906. As I say that, I must look up the date so that I can remember it and have some event on in November, I think it is, later this year. And we've got 6,500 square feet. We've got 4 or 5 really big, good rooms. We've got a community in North Belfast that is neglected, and we've had the conflict for 50 years or longer. Therefore, what do? So we want to make it into a flagship activity. So the Carnegie Centre of Weaving is going to be our pilot to make sure that it runs as a centre with weavers and tapestry and spinning and yarns and so forth, and all that flows from that. We've got a couple of musicians in as well, and we want it as community space because the local community needs a leg up. It needs regeneration. Young people need ideas, jobs, opportunities. So we're going to make this into a Carnegie Centre. It's going to be buzzing with activity. It's going to be sharing, learning, innovating, experimenting, and doing stuff that will leave a lasting legacy in the way that Carnegie did 120 years ago, when he said that education through free public libraries was his mission, and that has succeeded triumphantly over the last century. So we want to do something into the future as well.
And obviously you have a background in textiles too, don't you?
Afraid not, none at all.
The weirdest thing that we have found as we've been going along is how many people actually fall into textiles just by sort of sheer fluke or just being in the right place at the right time. But you obviously have weavers here at different stages of their careers as well. You have a very well established Northern Ireland weaver. Yeah. You also have Geraldine, who we've already spoken to, who is very much self-taught, and I think you were saying there that there's also somebody in their education stage of weaving as well. So
Karen is trained at Ulster University in their textile department, and then we've got Gemma coming in shortly, who's about to give up a job in the civil service to see if she can make it in weaving. And what I love the texture, I love the feel, I love the colours. For me, it's about creativity. How can somebody sit down at a loom, a big old wooden loom, and think of making something that's lively, that's colourful, that's elegant, that's wavy, and you have lots of really creative thoughts looking at it. So I like the process of doing it, and then you hear the weavers talk about their computers and say, what do you mean, this is an old wooden thing? And they say, no, it's 010101, it's binary. And it's about coding, and you go off in another strand, and then you talk to the academic people and they talk about words and poetry. Our musicians are talking about weaver songs and the history of weaving and how they can bring that back to life for local people, many of whose mothers and grandmothers worked in the mills. So there's lots of wonderful spin-offs from this, and our job here is to make it a centre of weaving that will be creative and innovative.
And I think for us an important part of where we're going with Inspiring Yarns is obviously capturing that oral history as well, because as you say, a lot of people would have been involved in the industries within these areas, and you'd find that they are obviously getting to be of a certain age, and that heritage is really at risk of being lost. So obviously what you're doing here is very key to capturing that and capturing the histories as well. But how did it come about then that the weavers just ended up being here, and that it took that step down into being a weavers centre as much as being a community space?
As usual, it was an accident. just like my job career over 40 years has been accidental. I've never planned what jobs I'll do. I just fall into one. So we had a phone call from a friend who said, have you still got that library? Because I've got this loom and it won't fit in my back bedroom, and I'd really like somewhere to practice and learn my weaving. And we said, yeah, I've still got the library. Yeah, it's got high ceilings. Yeah, come on round. And that started it off, and then we talked about what else could we do to make this work, and what other people do we need, what resources do we need, what security, safety, what learning. So it's complex, but ultimately it's dead exciting.
And do you have a time frame in terms of what you're looking at to have each sort of individual space operational, or does it all work as one large scale project?
Timescales are always ambitious and rarely fulfilled.
We hear you.
So we're not putting a date on it because the bureaucracy that you have to navigate in terms of the rules and regulations and listed buildings and disability access and asbestos surveys and so on and so forth are all really important. But they're time consuming, so this is going to be a long-term project.
Long-term. And no doubt you are just the person to take that on. Well, listen, thank you very much. It has been really interesting talking to you, and I doubt this is the first time you will feature on some of our podcasts because we love the building. Also had previously been here on a private tour herself, so we'd love to be able to keep in touch and obviously keep keep up with what the waivers are doing as well. So likewise, no doubt we will hear again. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks.
And hi there, I'm just here with Geraldine. Geraldine is one of the waivers who has taken up some of the space in Carnegie Old Park, and we're just like a bit of information, Geraldine, from you of how you got involved in waiving in the first place.
Okay. Sure. Well, I was weaving on a table loom at home as a learner weaver, and then I kind of took the head staggers during COVID and decided, do you know what, I'm not hanging about. I've always wanted a floor loom. I'm going to get myself a floor loom. There was a particular kind of loom that I wanted, which is the George Wood loom that we're standing in front of. And when the loom arrived in lots of bits of wood and boxes, I thought, well, it's too big, it's not going to go in my house, where am I going to put it? So I knew that Quentin and Fiona had recently acquired the building with a view to renovating it for community use, and I thought, I'll just drop them a wee email. And literally 20 minutes later, this was 8 o'clock in the morning, 20 minutes later, they pinged back and said, we're going to be in the building for the first time since COVID lockdown. If let's have a chat. So I live in North Belfast, so I came over, and they said, well, you're welcome to use the room to put your loom up, which was amazing.
Wow.
The room was quite grubby, and so I got together with a friend of mine who also has a space here, and she's very tall, so she volunteered to wash the walls and the windows up as far as she could reach.
Nice job.
Yes, absolutely. There's a great tide line which you can actually spot running along the walls.
So she's that height then?
Because I'm my height, I'm much closer to the floor, so I scrubbed the floor, so we cleaned the room and got ourselves set up, and that was the start of...
So teamwork makes the dream work then? Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It's absolutely fascinating. So how long have you actually been weaving here from?
So that would have been 21,
21.
I think, 21, 22.
COVID
yes.
forced a lot of people to do things a bit differently, didn't it? And in so many good ways as well.
Absolutely, and it was actually a man with a very shiny red motorbike that kicked me off on this because it was one of the first relaxations of COVID, and I thought, great, I can get to the garden centre and get some stuff. And as I was getting out of the car, I was parked close to this very shiny, very new looking, lovely bike. I thought better not bash it with the car door. And then particularly as I saw the driver, the owner, kind of walking towards. So anyway, we started chatting, and he said, I just decided there's no point hanging about, is it? I'm just going to go for it. So that just stuck in my mind, and I thought, well, the man with the motorbike was quite right. I'm just going to go for it, and that's what gave me the courage to think I'm going to buy a loom that I've never seen. It came from Scotland. I didn't know how to put it together. It was, as I say, it arrived in bits, and so I thought, who are going to help me with this? So I thought, Men's Shed, North Belfast Men's Shed, who at that time were just up the road, further up the Crumlin Road. Went up there and thought, well, maybe, there might be a fella there who might be interested. Well, there was a whole gang of them arrived.
That's what you need.
I couldn't hold them back. They were just fantastic. So
that's amazing.
They put it together for me. And then I have to say, I got a fantastic amount of support from the weave technician at Ulster University, who's the technician on the textiles weave degree course, and he's so knowledgeable about looms, and he came up and tweaked and fiddled and got it
going for you.
Got it, yeah.
It is an amazing piece of equipment, and it just suits this building as well so much. But you're also saying there that you're also taking part in a self-led weaving course through the Ulster Guild of Spinners, Weavers and Dyers.
That's right.
How is that going?
Well, that is, at the moment, I'm flying, which is great. Not something I could have said a couple of months ago. So because it's self-directed, it has that. Sometimes it's easier than others. What I really like about it is the fact that they ask you to provide samples, 30 samples using different weave structures, different yarns, different colours, and encouraging you to experiment.
Yeah.
So I've had to go down all sorts of
rabbit holes. The fiend of many a craftsperson is the rabbit hole, isn't it?
Well, yes, some rabbit holes I would rather not have on Facebook gone down, but it's been a really good learning opportunity, and I've done short training, weekend training courses and so on along the way where I can. But I'm largely self-taught, and I'm still a learner. And in fact,
in many ways, that's the best way, isn't it? Because you learn from your own mistakes, don't you? And,
This is what I try and comfort myself with. This, yes, regularly. Yeah. In fact, I think you only learn from your own mistakes. When things go well, you just kind of assume you're a genius.
Yeah, absolutely. Because aren't we? But it has been absolutely lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we hope you enjoy to thrive in this amazing building as it develops. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Hi, Gianna. So lovely to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wonder if you could just start by introducing yourself.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Well, I'm Janna Knowles. I'm Norfolk Knot with a K on Instagram, and I don't know where to go now. And I've always been interested in crafts, particularly knitting, which is the kind of handcraft which I've sort of focused on. I've managed to get away from the day job, which was not craft related. And I'd always said that when I kind of retire, then I would be spending my retirement working in textiles and in crafts, really. So, long story short, about a year ago, I knitted this jumper. I've always liked kind of tessellation and how shapes fit together. And I was doing some experimenting and messing around and looking at the stash, and colour has been another driver for me. And I was just kind of thinking, wow, what can I do with these colours? So
They're gorgeous. I
you.
just love it, and the jumper you're wearing as well.
Thank
you know,
you.
both of them very different, but lovely.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So I knitted the first hexagon, and then again, like many knitters, I'm not interested in having to sew stuff together. So I thought, okay, we can make this go somewhere. And as I did more and more, and this is kind of fairly random, although for those of you who are colour experts, it's obviously random within particular aspects of the colour spectrum. So I thought, I'm spending all this time knitting it. It takes about an hour to knit each hexagon. I want to wear this because people have said, "Oh, you could do a blanket," and I think, no,
Yeah,
wear
I want to
your
show it
art.
off. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So it took a bit of a while to work out how to get the shaping, particularly going into the arms and going into the neck. And I was saying to also that this is knitted in Shetlands, and one of the great things about knitting with this kind of wool is it is actually quite easy to snip it apart, move them around and sew them in again.
That will scare a lot of people, but
Yep.
you know, we take your word for it.
Yes. So, and then another passion of mine was to go on a knitting retreat, and I knew that the Inspiring Yarns did the retreats a couple of times a year, and it actually took me 4 years to actually book the Lusty Beg retreat
But
last November.
You were with us last November, yeah.
Yes,
So
yeah.
so how did you find the retreat?
It was great. The location was fantastic.
It's lovely.
Driving there and going on the ferry, because you come onto one island and then you have to get the ferry to the smaller island, and that was just amazing. And it's a beautiful hotel.
I just see it as you sort of leave your your life behind, and you're just on retreat when you go through the
and that's almost kind of symbolic by the way you cross from one island to a smaller one. So that was great, and I wore the jumper because I was a bit proud of it. And the response from the group, the others on the retreat, was just amazing. And at one point, I think it was the last night we were there, they were like, well, we're going to tie you to the chair and you can't go until you tell us how to do it. So I had already thought about writing the pattern. So I had an embryonic pattern, but I only had it in this size. So again, another very long story short, I've now managed to develop the pattern. So there are 4 sizes, and the pattern looks like this. Part of it does anyway. So you can see how the hexagons are going to fit together, what you're knitting, and obviously there's the written part of the pattern which tells you how to knit the hexagon and how to do the finishing shapes, because particularly again under the arms you end up with shapes like this, which I think is technically called a rhombus.
That's the next one, isn't it? That one there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and then there's
I pinned
another
it at the
shape
back to keep it on the mannequin.
So all that is in the pattern, and then I got more interested in exploring the colours. So I think this the large size. This again is in kind of Shetland type wools.
This was XL, I think you said, and that's the large. Yeah.
And there is a medium and there is a small. And then most recently, working with another group of crafters in England, this is in the white, the cream colour is a silk merino mix. And these colours are actually merino sock yarns with nylon in as well. And I also wanted to think about having a one colour background. And I thought, well, okay, what does it look like if we get a plain yoke as well? So
That's gorgeous too. You know, they're really quite different, aren't
Yeah.
they? Same pattern, obviously, but quite different in.
and this
style.
is this for me is well, I mean, I can just see the rest of my life as we spent knitting these
Yeah.
jumpers now. Yeah, it is so versatile, and
Yeah.
in my head, the next one I've got some yarn at home which I have already started knitting one with, but now I'm going to have to change it all. So I'm going to have like a green. It's going to be green, and I'm actually going to start knitting the yoke and then come down
Oh.
because it's supposed to be knitted from your stash, and it's supposed to be knitted from ends of balls. Because we were talking earlier about how do you choose your colours, how much yarn do you think you're going to need, all those sorts of questions.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were saying, well, you just pick up yarn you like the colour of and you start
We're
knitting.
quite similar. We've
Yes.
noticed quite similar in the way we think about things. Yeah.
Which is not necessarily very helpful for people who have different sorts of lives and different kinds of approaches.
And you may not have the same stash that you
Yeah.
or I might have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where you and Claire and Janice come in, who are now we're kind of working together and saying, okay, well, if you wanted to knit the large size, which is the one I'm wearing, and this one, I think overall it takes 500 grams. So if you just wanted a plain background, then 250 of that is going to be
Roughly.
plain colour.
Yeah.
And then you've got all those minis and all those Advent minis. And
And I am going home and reading my stash tonight to
I'm
get
I'm
started.
really looking forward
Yeah,
to seeing
yeah.
how that turns out.
No, I
Yeah.
have a little bit of an idea already, but
Yeah.
it'd be really exciting to see. But you are actually coming
Yes.
to see us for our next retreat.
Yes, I am.
Up in the Causeway in
Yep.
September. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what people can expect from that.
Okay, well, actually, this is what I had to do to get to the Causeway, which has been on my list of places to visit. So
Happy to oblige.
Thank you. Knit your way to the Causeway. So I will be there with the pattern, and the pattern is only available through workshops and through your kind of crafting community. It's not on general release. And obviously I will have the pattern. The pattern is all a paper pattern. It's all written. And I will be there to get people started with how you actually start knitting the hexagons, all the technical aspects of it. And also to be there throughout to say, well, I found it helpful to start in this place, and then I was thinking about what you need to be thinking about next, where you want to go with colours, but just kind of
We will bring starter kits with us. You can buy a whole sweater quantity if you want to, but I think it would be good to start with a starter pack, and we're going to go for our Highland base.
which is
lovely.
great. It works really, really well.
Yeah.
But if you are interested, then bring whatever you've got, because after you've knitted the first one, you already kind of you know what you're doing, you know how it works, and certainly by the time you've knitted a couple, which will maybe take you a morning to do, then in the way that knitters' brains work, you will be thinking about all sorts of other things and where you want the project to go. If I knit 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I can do one in 2 months. But it's really designed from that patchwork and quilting sort of heritage where you are using scraps.
Yeah.
And you are doing it in the evening, and you're seeing it as a long-term project.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it as a lovely project to have sort of going. Maybe sitting watching a series or something like that. Just knitting away and seeing it all grow. I'm really excited about starting mine.
And I'm really excited to see other people do it as well.
Yeah.
Or listening to audiobooks is good.
Yeah.
War and Peace.
Oh yeah, well, you will get to
No,
do that.
I haven't actually done that, but yeah.
Yeah. So then we're also then talking about you're obviously going to be with us for the full retreat, and you can join in if you book on. You can join in all of that, but you can also book on to the retreat and do your own sort of things. So we're running it pretty much the same as we normally do, quite relaxed. But you will be running workshops and sort of be there to help people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe a month or so later, after the retreat, we are going to have a Zoom session for you to explain a little bit more of the finishings.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I'm more than happy that people kind of contact me either through my email address, which you'll get from the retreat, or direct message me on Instagram, because I want this to work for people and I want them to walk around in their art and feel good about doing it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm really excited and looking forward to meeting people.
So am I. Yeah. And we'll see you in September.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that was quite a lot, wasn't it?
Quite a lot to get through there, and thank you if you're still here for watching along with us. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, if you do keep encouraging us, we are going to keep doing this because,
well, maybe we don't need that much encouragement, to be honest, Claire.
No, we've decided it's not that bad, and secretly we do like snooping about different places.
We do.
Thinking up things that we can bring to you. One of these fine days we may actually get round to filming some knitting content as well. That would be great.
It'll come.
Speaking of which, we have developed a membership through our website, and that has come about just because we do have quite a lot of people who would come to our regular social sessions. So we have developed a membership scheme, and we do hope to be able to build on that. We are looking at filming some content that is knitting and crochet specific initially, and we'll be looking at that over the next few weeks, but it may take us a wee bit of time to develop it. If you want to join us as a friends of kind of an arrangement, you're more than welcome to join up on our membership scheme throughout the website. It also gets you 10% off any purchases, workshop bookings and retreat bookings on the website as well.
Yep.
As I say, we will be developing members only content. That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not
No.
only, members only. We'll be developing some. She's off on one.
Yeah.
We'll be developing some exclusive content that members can access through that, which will include some of the patterns and things that Ossa has designed over the years for our group sessions and things that we've delivered workshops on. And we do eventually hope to be able to bring online only sessions for people that can't join us in person but would like to sort of meet up on Zoom, talk about knitting and crochet. Palavas that you get into and things that you can't fix and things that or even just to find somebody out there that just to sit and have a chat with for a couple of hours and take a bit of time out for yourself. So that's our plans for the membership scheme, and we will be developing that as time goes on. But for now, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time around. But before we go, we'll leave you with the Would You Rather.
We got some nice comments last time, the first podcast on our Would You Rather. So we said we would continue that. Now, things being a bit chaotic, I've just lifted this from the internet. So if you've seen it, bear with anyway. So, Claire, would you rather a tiny gnome follows you around and bites the ankles of your enemies, or a giant elf that carries you when you get tired?
I'm going to go with the giant elf, I feel.
Okay.
What about you?
I sort of like the idea of the gnome. If someone's like, I don't know if I can say I have any enemies, I hope I don't, but
certainly people that irk you a wee bit.
People that irk me, and just
maybe scale it back to people that vex or irk you. See how that goes for a while. Anyway, usual important questions as they are, but we'll leave you with that.
Thanks for listening again, and we'll see you shortly, I'm sure.
Bye.
Bye.